Hi guys, welcome back to Kitchen War Gamers, and welcome back to my kitchen. Right, as you can see in front of you, I've got two units. I've got an American unit and a German unit. And basically what I'm going to do on this video is cover rules for infantry. To do this, obviously every unit gets its own order dice, and on each part of it there is a specific order. And what I'll do is I'll go through with one unit, showing you what each order does and how you go about doing it. It's going to be very, very close, just to cram it all in. And when it comes to ranges and distances, I'll talk about them, but obviously I won't actually show you the tape measure going on. Okay, so let's get straight into it then. So, infantry units. As you know, different units like vehicles, artillery and your infantry are the three main ones. All have got their own special, well not special, but different types of how they go about the order. So with the infantry then, I'll just take the order dice away, and just for instance I've pulled out the German dice. So I decide what I'm going to do, what order I'm going to give them. I've got fire, run, ambush, rally, down and advance. Okay, so let's start off with saying I'm doing advance order. So I'll place the dice down to them. Now if they've got a pin marker on them, what I have to do is do an order test roll. And basically what that is, you roll on the unit's level of leadership. If it passes, the order's been received, understood, and they crack on with it. If they've got a pin marker on them, or any amount of pin markers, you take that off the score needed. So if you're a veteran unit, your leadership is 10, a regular unit is 9, and a inexperienced unit is 8. So as long as we've got no pin markers, that's what we need to roll, but we'll come to that when we do it. So to activate the order then, they've got no pin markers and it's advance. So basically what the advance means is they can move up to their maximum distance and still fire. Okay, so the advance order, so let's say for instance they've moved up 6 inches and now they can fire. So they've got a target in front of them in the open. Okay, so now what I have to do to work out firing is I count how many men. By the way, what I've done, they're all different weapon systems in the game that give you more shots, more range, and obviously later on with the bigger weapons they've got penetration. But let's say for instance that everyone here has rifles, just to make it a bit more simple. Okay, so I count how many men I've got. So there's 8. So I get 8 6-sided dice. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, now what I do is I need to work out now what I need to actually hit the enemy unit. So normally, and the basic throughout the game is you need a 3. However, certain terrain types or cover, or if they're in like a hard or soft cover or in building, or certain actions you do, add to that. So what we're worried about here is we've moved. So because troops are moving, they're not getting such a steady shot. So they've gone up to, they start off with 3, so now they've moved, they need 4s. Now also range comes into that as well, the weapons. Say for instance, the rifles are 24 inch range. If I can get the target within half that range, so 12 inches, if they're within 12 inches, I don't lose any bonuses. I just got the straight 4. But say the Americans were, say 20 inches away, that's called long range. So that's a minus to hit as well, which adds on to your dice. So we started at 3, we've moved to 4 within our range, so it's just a straight up 4. Okay, let's roll the dice and see how they do. Okay, so I'm looking 4s, 5s, or 6s. So 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. Okay, now my bullets are firing into that enemy target and they've been hit. So immediately that puts a pin marker on them. Now, a thing to think about pin markers is the more you put pin markers on, the harder it is for the troops to go about the business. So it's harder for them to pass their order tests and stuff like that as we go along. So now I need to know how I actually wound or kill a model so we can take it off the table. And again, that depends on the quality of the troop. So if they're regular troops, you need a 4. If they're veterans, I need 5s. And if they're inexperienced, I need 3. So everyone here is regular, so I need straight up 4s. And here we go with the 4 dice that hit. And I've actually got 2. I've got a 4 and a 5. So that means 2 troops have gone from that unit. Now there's another rule as we go along, taking hits. If you lose up to or more than your maximum number, so there's 8 here, so let's say they've lost 4. So what that means is now these, because they've lost 50% in a shooting phase, they have to do a morale check. So like I said, a regular infantry is 9, and the plus marker takes that down to 8, so they have to pass to see if they stay on the table. And they got a 5, so they stay where they are, they're fine. If they failed, the whole unit is taken off, and the dice that belongs to them goes to your opponent as a point. So basically you get a point out for each unit you get rid of. Okay, let's put these back in. Wish I could do this in actual games actually, put them back in. Right, okay, so that's the advanced order. So let's go to the fire order next. So pull my dice out of the bag, it comes a German and it comes over to me. So now I'm doing a straight up fire. So first off, I don't get a minus for moving. So if the enemy were within my half shooting range, so for the rifles it's a maximum of 24, so if they're in 12, I just need up the straight 3. So let's see how we go. 2, 4, 6, 8 dice. So I need 3s. And I've get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So as you can see, without any modifiers on me, I can go ahead with that. So that's 6 hits on 8 men. Let's see how I wound them. So the regular troops need 4s again. And I've managed to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've now actually taken 5 of them away. However, I've rolled 2 6s. Now what if you roll a 6 when you're wounding the troops, you can try and roll them again and get 6s again. If you do, excuse me, if you do, I can pick which enemy models can be removed, because normally it's up to you who goes. But if it's got like a special weapon or the NCO, the guy that's in charge of them, I could pick to take them out. If I take their weapon out, obviously they've lost that weapon system that could give them more shots. If I take their NCO out, they're always on a -1 to morale and everything like that. So that's always a good target to get to if they've got no special weapons you want to get rid of. So I'll roll these 6s again. I've never done that in a game. 2 6s. So I can pick is NCO just there, and if these are Americans, so if they had a bar unit, I could take out that bar. That gives them extra 2 shots and a bit further range as well. So obviously the pin marker fitted them in the first place, and I take out the other 5. So that's the first 2 that I've picked, and he takes out 3 more. So as you can see, they've been knocked down to 3 men, which is less than half. They do morale check. If they lose, they're off, and if they win, then 3 carry on fighting. Okay, so that's the fire order. Let's put them back. Okay, one point to note as well, if you've got I'll come to that in a minute, sorry. We'll just carry on. Next, let's say a down order. Now, where this comes to affect the down order is if you are being shot at and you haven't received an order, you can choose to go down. So my fire order comes out. I fire at them. He decides it's too much in the open, and he could possibly lose a lot of men, like I just showed you on that last shot, say for instance. So he can choose to go down, and basically what that means, all the men dive down on the deck to make them harder. So when they've gone down, it's a -2 to hit. So the normal 3 you need to roll, because they've gone down, that straight away goes to 5. Now if you've moved, you need a 6, and so on. So if it ever comes to a place where you need, say like a 7 or an 8 to actually hit, obviously you can't roll that on the dice. So what you need to do is roll a 6, and if that rolls, you need to roll a 6 again, and that's how you hit them if it's over 6 needed. Okay, that's the down order. Next we have a run order. Now this is no firing, but your troops can move double. So instead of the normal 6 move, they can move up to 12. But you want to do that if you want to cover ground or get away from the action, or to you know, run up a road to get to a building that's a bit further away. That's when you would use that, because obviously you can't fire once you've stopped. Okay. The rally. So what a rally is, like I said before, what you want to do is put pin markers on the enemy unit, so it makes them harder to shoot, and makes them harder for their leadership tests, because all them is a minus. So that, say they needed, say they were veterans, they needed 10, but they got 4 pin markers, that knocks their morale or leadership down to 6. So if you've got these pin markers on you and you virtually can't do anything because you've got so many, this is where the rally order comes in. So what you do is you put the rally on, and basically you roll a d6. So we've got 3. You add 1, so that's 4, and that's how many pin markers you can remove. 2, 4. So I am back down to just 1 pin marker now. It makes it a bit better for them troops to operate. Okay, the last one is ambush. Now ambush is a good one because you can put them down. When your dice comes out, you can say put these troops down on ambush to cover all their arcs. So in the next turn, let's just use these 2. If they say they're moving and move, when they come into their range, they stop moving, and these can fire at them straight away. So it's waiting for the enemy to make a move, basically, before you fire. And that's firing full effect. Obviously range, if they're out of your short range, and so for rifles, it's 12. If they're beyond that, obviously you get the -1 there. At the end of the turn as well, if they haven't used their ambush order, they can make a firing attack at any visible enemy, or you can keep them in ambush till the next turn. Or if you think you don't need them in ambush, you can take it off, and that'll go on to the next turn. Okay. So, yeah, that's about it for the order dice. So for the shooting as well, like I said before, if you moved, that goes against you. And other things like the range, I've gone through that. So let's say these units are behind this stone wall. Sorry, can't fit them all in. That unit's behind a stone wall, so they're in hard cover. So basically that gives them a 2 to hit them. So if you're on a fire order, you've not moved, they're within your short range, you only need a 3. But because they're behind the hard cover, that gives them an extra 2. It's like going down, so you'll need a 4 straight away. And if they wanted to, because they're being shot at, you can get the choice to go down. If you haven't already received your order, they could go down as well. So yeah, that'll make it, it's over 6, so you'd have to throw 6s and 6s just to hit them. So that's something always to keep in mind. Okay, another thing about troops, I am going to go on buildings a bit more, but basically if there's troops in a building, that's like hard cover as well. They get the 2 plus hard cover, but we'll go into buildings in more detail as I cover more of the rules. Okay, So the run order, sorry, like I say, is W move, but you can also use the charge order, the run order, sorry, I keep saying charge because that's my next bit. You can give them a run order, and that means they can charge into an enemy unit to get into close combat. And close combat in bolt action is very, very brutal, as I've found out as my troops get wiped out. So, you mentioned that this unit is going to charge at that unit there for close combat. Everything you do, when you've named what you're going to do, there's no pre-measuring before you do it. So you give the order, you say what you're going to do, and then you measure the distance out. If you're out of range, tough. Okay, so let's go through the close combat then. So these are now going to run. So what they do is this. When I've said I'm going to charge that unit, if this unit hasn't taken any order dice, you can take one out of the bag and say fire. So what they're doing is reacting to your charge. So they're seeing the enemy get up and run at you with bayonets fixed. So you won't just stand there. So you can make a reaction fire. So basically this unit would fire at them. Let's go through that. 2, 4, sorry, get my camera arm in the way. 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, so it's straight up threes, obviously, to see if you can hit them. So, I have hit 4. Now we roll to wound the regulars, so we need 4s again. And I got 2 hits. And a 6, so I can re-roll a 6 to see if I can pick my target. And fail. So 2 have gone down. So already as you're charging, your 8-man has now gone down to 6 men. So it can make it harder for you when you get into there because you've lost troops already. So once that's been worked out, you move your troops all into base contact to show that they're in close combat. Right, the close combat then. Basically, the person who's charged goes first. So you count up how many men you got left after the damage has been taken off the reaction fire. So we've got 2, 4, 6. So we get 6 dice. 2, 4, 6. Right, as in shooting, you roll to hit the unit, and then you roll to wound. In close combat, you just go straight into wound. Okay, so I'm up against regulars. So I need 4s. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. Okay, so 4 of the enemy are removed. Now, after your turn's finished, whoever he's got left, fight back. So having 4 out of the way is better because he's got less hits. So the Americans go next, and they've got 4 men, 4 dice, and they're up against regular Germans, so they need 4s. And they kill 1. So, as you can see, the Germans have inflicted 4 wounds. The Americans have inflicted 1 on the Germans. So that means the Germans have won the combat, and what's left to do is just remove everything that's left. And there you go, you've won your combat. Now after this, you can make D6 consolidation, so 1 inch. So you can move these troops another inch to consolidate that area. And that is how rough close combat is. Even if it was, we had 8 against 8, and I didn't make any hits and he just makes 1, because I've lost the combat by 1, they're all removed. So pretty brutal. Now if it's a draw, say I've killed 2 of his and he's killed 2 of mine, well, what happens then? We fight again. But this time it doesn't go by the first person who got into the combat. It goes at the same time. So you roll to wound, I roll to wound. Whoever's got the most wounds on the enemy is the winner of that combat, and what's left is removed. Okay, I think that's pretty much the basics of troops and how they go about with their orders. If there is anything I forgot or you think I've got it wrong, please leave comments, because as you know, I'm still learning, and as I'm going along and getting stuck into the rules myself, I'll go through the rules with you, how high I've gone about learning it. So yeah, please leave comments, and yeah, so thanks for watching, and hope to see you again soon. And remember, make it, paint it and play it. See you soon, guys.